I mean, as I mentioned, I've been there for 15 years and I've had a lot of success. But up to now, I still experience a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, and sometimes just a bit of anxiety.
Welcome to Braving It, a brand new show that I am extremely excited about purely because it's close to my heart. This is a platform where I get to speak to people who are killing it in their areas of responsibility. We're talking about corporate people, business leaders, people who have said yes to a brave conversation. Why brave? Because we are talking about emotions that speak to us, that we experience on a daily, but are too afraid to voice. And maybe too afraid to voice because we often associate emotions with vulnerability. But the likes of Brené Brown have gone as far as redefining the concept of vulnerability. And in it, she talks about vulnerability being a sense of courage. Courage, what is courage? It's uncertainty, it's risk, it's emotional exposure. And so we are having courageous conversations with people who I know have a lot to share. We're doing this in the hopes of inspiring you and getting you to unearth your own enormity. So I'm sitting here with Mapula Bodibe. She is currently the CMO at MTN South Africa. Mapula, thank you for opening up your beautiful home for us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling?
No, I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, relaxed and excited to have a chat to you about this.
Excellent. Okay. Excited that you are excited. So let me do a quick rundown, perhaps an introduction of sorts for those of you for those who don't know you very well. So Mapula, academically you completed your BCom in economics at UNISA. You then went on to do a postgraduate diploma in marketing at UNISA as well. And then you completed your MBA over 11 years ago. And then professionally, you started your career at Unilever as a marketing rep in the 90s. And then moved on to become an assistant brand manager for Yum Restaurants International, is it? Yeah. And then, of course, you moved to MTN, the big yellow global brand. And that is where you started as a segment manager and then was promoted to senior marketing manager, then GM for consumer marketing. Then you were the CMO at MTN Uganda. Then you were the consumer business unit executive at MTN and are now the chief marketing officer at MTN. What a growth. You have grown in one organization. How did you remain that disciplined to stay in one organization and be patient with the growth during that time?
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting listening to you because I don't often, hear it reflected like that. Yeah, I've been at MTN 15 years, and what you've described is really my journey there. To think that it's 15 years is quite a surprise even to me, because it's gone so fast. Mainly because I was exposed to so many opportunities there. I never felt like I was ever stagnant. Whenever I had grown into a role, I was given another opportunity. So, but I was very, very fortunate. I had the benefit of having sponsors, people who just looked out for me, people who spoke for me when I was not in the room, and people who really pushed me into different directions. I definitely would not say I did it on my own. It was more just with the backing of a really good set of supporters around me.
So I met you at MTN probably about 10 years ago. And Mapula, I never really reported into you, but we worked in the same department, so to say. And you struck me as someone who was very focused, very focused. You stayed in your lane. You didn't care who was doing what next to you. You were focused in your lane. And I will never forget, there was one particular meeting. I walked into that meeting and you were so firm. As a young black woman, you were firm about what it is that you wanted people to deliver on. And I remember thinking, whew, yeah, one needs to come prepared here, you know. You can't just roll through. You need to know your story. You must have your story right. You must come correct. And yet, outside of the boardroom, you were vulnerable. You cared about people's personal development. I remember when I resigned from MTN, you called me aside and you asked me why. You called me to your desk and you asked me why am I leaving, and I told you my reasons. And then you said to me that you imagine that one day I will feature in Destiny magazine. I don't know if you remember that conversation. And lo and behold, I think it was a few months later, 9 to 10 months later, I literally had a full page spread in Destiny magazine. Mapula, you shoulder a lot of responsibility in your day-to-day. You're making big decisions on behalf of MTN customers. There's a lot of big monies that you're managing as well. How do you maintain your sanity in all of that? Meaning, do you ever encounter fear, anxiety? Do you doubt yourself in some of the big decisions that you have to make on a daily basis?
Sure, certainly. You know, I mean, as I mentioned, I've been there for 15 years and I've had a lot of success. But up to now, I still experience a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, and sometimes just a bit of anxiety, because I work in an industry where we're always doing something new. We're always trying different things. And as you rightly said, I'm responsible for quite a big portfolio. So there's a lot that rests on my shoulders. In fact, my business unit is responsible for more than, in fact, 70% of the MTN South Africa revenue. Sometimes when I think of that, I like really shoulder a lot of, you know, like anxiety, because I think, wow, this is quite a lot. But at the same time, I think about, you know, the people who've given me this opportunity. And the fact that they believe in me and have the confidence. And that sometimes, you know, really propels me to think, you know what, I can definitely do this, and I know that I'm capable. I'm also responsible for quite a big team. People are always looking up to me. People are wanting, you know, direction. Decisions in my life are like literally every day, and not small decisions, big decisions. And, you know, and that sometimes, you know, gets me to be a bit uncertain. But I always try and center myself and say, you know, let me separate the facts from my feelings. And I think about, you know, like, what is it that I'm able to influence? And then I go for it. So it's definitely daunting, but, you know, it's part of, you know.
It's part of what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, it's not easy, but it actually also what keeps me challenged in my role. Yeah.